On January 29, 1920, Prohibition went into action, which meant the transporting, manufacturing, and selling of liquors in the United States was illegal. The author of this change was Andrew J. Volstead, which is why this act was later called the Volstead Act. This change was made to reduce the amount of crime, improve health, and solve social problems. In my opinion, this was a good idea. Prohibition was also done because alcohol was needed for medicine to save people's lives instead of drinking alcohol freely to hurt people. Prohibition had an effect that wasn't expected because the reason there was prohibition was to solve social problems, but social problems became worse during Prohibition. The 18th Amendment was the only amendment ever to be entirely repealed. This is the 18th Amendment. Section 1. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within the importation thereof into or the exportation thereof from the United States in all territory subject to their jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. Section 2. The Congress and the several states shall have the concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislators of the United States, as provided in the Constitution within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by Congress. The repeal of Prohibition passed in 1933. This was made because people were illegally making and selling alcohol in hidden bars called speakeasies. This was bad because the government wasn't making any money off the speakeasies because this was illegally selling alcohol and the government wasn't getting any tax. Speakeasies were usually hidden in someone's basement or attic. There were secret passageways that helped them get out of houses and into houses without the police seeing them. Eventually, the government noticed that they were losing a lot of money because they weren't getting any tax from the liquor business. That is how the 21st Amendment came to be. This is the 21st Amendment. Section 1. The 18th Article of Amendment to the Constitution is hereby repealed. Section 2. The transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws is thereof hereby prohibited. Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in the several states as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. The 13th Amendment came to be because prior to the Civil War, there were many bills that were passed protecting the rights of slavery. There was barely anything that was proposed to the legislative branch that would get rid of completely slavery. John Quincy Adams had tried to pass a bill in 1839 that would abolish slavery, which didn't pass. But on December 14, 1863, a representative by the name of James Mitchell Ashley tried to pass a bill that would abolish slavery throughout the whole entire country. After James Mitchell Ashley proposed that bill, many other representatives started proposing bills that would abolish slavery. Eventually, the Congress started to notice the number of bills that were trying to abolish slavery. At some time, the Senate Judiciary Committee made a proposal for a new amendment using the bills of some of the representatives that wanted to abolish slavery. After debating the amendment, the Senate had passed it on April 8, 1864, and the House of Representatives passed it on January 31, 1865. This is the 13th Amendment. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. If you were to read a textbook, you'll probably find some new vocabulary, and you will probably never find out what it means. But on this digital story, you will learn all the vocabulary words you don't know the meaning of. Here are the vocabulary words. Delegates, a representative. Article. When you were talking about the Constitution, an article is the original pieces to the Constitution that explains checks and balances. Amendment. When you're talking about the Constitution, an amendment is a change or an addition to the Constitution. Compromise. A compromise is when both sides give up something to meet the goal they want to meet. Ratify. To confirm. Preamble. The preamble is the beginning of the Constitution. Suffrage. The right to vote. Prohibition. A time in America when the manufacturing, selling, and transportation of alcohol was illegal. Abolish. To totally wipe out. Amend. To change. Legislative branch. The legislative branch creates the laws. Congress, Senate, House of Representatives. Executive branch. The branch of government that enforces the laws. The police. Judicial branch. The branch of government that interprets the law. Judges. I'd like to thank Mrs. Parisi and Miss Southern for helping me with this digital story, because when I started the project, I had no idea what it was about. Thank you for watching this digital story on how the Constitution was made.